was, you know, their own making, so he has to take some responsibility there. But jumping straight back into draft, we already see the jungle bans coming out. There's the AP jungle bans coming out from V5 that we talked about, and Rogue Warriors now respecting Mole Zoe.
Honestly, I feel like you just have to at this stage. You cannot let this Zoe go in. Not only is it Mole Zoe, but she is just such a powerful tool that you can utilize in that mid lane. The AP junglers, like you said, by V5 are being taken away, whereas Rogue Warriors, I actually feel like they might have gone for an AP jungler or an AD mid laner had those two junglers not been banned. We'll see what they want to pivot to, but Olaf, the final ban by Rogue Warriors.
And it goes to the stock and standard. If Olaf and Pantheon are banned, Kai'Sa is that most likely first pick. Will Rogue Warriors once again go back towards that Renekton? You could, but other answers into the Kai'Sa, we have seen the Aphelios come out. I think that's been the bigger one in LPL. Xayah really being that other answer. And with, oh, not going to get baited by hovers this time, Penguin. I'm not getting baited.
No, you don't talk about it. That's the one rule, the one golden rule. We don't talk about it until it's locked in. Now it's locked in, and now we can talk about it.
Yep, and they do bring out the Rel, so Rogue Warriors sticking to their identity, indexing into champions that do want to go in and look for these fights. I wonder what they will go with this rotation. Maybe this time picking up a higher priority jungle so you don't actually get banned out this time around. We know the Lily is still open. The Graves also being there as a potential takeaway from Weiwei.
Rel and Lilia locked in. We talked about the Lilia last time, why people tend to not see it as a full, substitute for something like Talia. Lilia works for herself. She needs to farm pretty much. She needs to be aggressive, needs to be farming enemy camps, getting those raptors off of spawn, making sure that you're just being a nuisance and staying ahead. Whereas Talia, far more effective in ganking the lanes, making sure that those are going for themselves. For V5, they lock in the Alistar, which was banned in the last game. With Kai'Sa and Alistar, that bot lane is just going to be so hard to crack for Rogue Warriors.
That's going to be a really interesting dynamic. Again, nice engaged champion coming out. And there we go. We are getting the Udyr here in the LPL. Ooh. Kanavi was the first one spamming that in solo queue. Of course, we have seen it out from Pioshik. We've also seen it in the LEC. Very interesting build. Going to be a lot to talk about in the game. But Rogue Warriors going with the expected Samira pick along with that Rel.
And for Udyr, I think he has a 100% win rate at this stage. I think he's 2 for 2 in the LCK. I will have to triple check that one myself. But the Samira locked in again for Michi. Didn't have a great game last time. Looking for a slightly better one here. Difficult to tell how this lane matchup goes. I am totally honest with you. I am not versed in the Kai'Sa Alistar versus Samira Rel. So we'll have to wait and see how that works. But I like this from V5. They've recognized that the Lilia was locked in. They're banning out AD mid laners from Forge.
Yeah, nice from them to acknowledge this setup. And the one thing we know from both of these compositions is that Rogue Warriors bottom lane wants a lot more skirmishing. They want a lot more fighting, especially that level 3 mark. For V5, they have more dimensions to them. They can just kind of sit and farm back the Alistar, having that option to disengage. It really is at level 6 when this becomes a lot more of a kill lane for the side of V5, being able to ult in with Kai'Sa, as well as just having that ultimate that just makes Alistar such an unkillable beast.
Yep, we'll see now. The final ban is going to be the Yone. So again, focusing in on that mid lane. Rogue Warriors, they've yet to pick their solo laners, as do V5. So you'll see V5 getting one counter pick into either mid or top, with Rogue Warriors getting the other. They'll have to decide which one they want. They are going to go with the Syndra, tried and true. Orianna banned, so we're not going to have that handshake, but Syndra still very, very solid into that mid lane.
Yeah, but I also think this sets up nicely for Victory 5's composition. I was talking about it with Clement the other day that one of the things he thinks is really strong about Udyr is he does do quite well into these double AP compositions. We do know he typically rushes that turbo chem tank, so getting a lot of mileage out of that magic resist.
And the Renekton with the Rise. So pretty beefy boys, actually, in the soul lanes in the early game. As we see the last pick going to be the Gnar. So for the side of Rogue Warriors, they're going with the Rel, Samira, and Lilia, 3 of our newest champions in the game. With V5 going a little bit old school with Udyr and Rise, Alistar, 3 of the oldest champions in the game. It's, again, what we talked about, it's a bit of the some old, some new coming into this game too.
Yeah, Victory 5's composition is really quite interesting because, at least from what I've gathered from watching this Udyr, which obviously we have limited games of, not an expert. A lot of teams are playing it a bit more as a team fighter, which is quite surprising when you think about the fact that traditionally his weakness was he's very easily kited, but with some of the new items, a lot of movement speed in the game, we're not seeing that really be the case. It's about farming up early and then setting him up to be a bit of a monster in the mid game, but V5's comp spells out side lanes to me. We see the Rise, we see the Renekton, they're going to be able to dominate those two side lanes. Kaisa also has a very easy way of reacting to both sides, you know, get the Plasma on, she ults in, you set up that kill, and then you turn that into an advantage.
From the side of Rogue Warriors, you're looking at the side of V5. That's a lot of very short-range carries. That is actually perfect for someone like the Rel, who can get between you, get that stun off, and of course, getting the Magnet Storm to bring everybody together for a potential Inferno trigger, you know, bonanza, if you will. But again, these are all ifs, buts, and maybes. If last games to go on, Rogue Warriors, they'll need to step up a lot in order to make that happen.
I still think you were right on the money, Penguin, that in terms of team fighting, I definitely think Rogue Warriors look like the stronger team. They should have no problem getting onto the likes of V5's composition. Very short range, not extremely mobile. You have the range coming in from both Syndra and Lilia. You can land that sleep. Rel being able to jump in. So I feel like we're looking at a very stylistic mismatch in terms of compositions and what they want to do.
Well, Eric, we are on to the Rift for Game 2 of this best of 3. V5 showed a dominant performance in Game 1, but can Rogue Warriors bounce back, or will we be ending this matchup sooner than expected? V5 will be wanting to see how they work with this Udyr. And Weiwei, again, first in the LPL, haven't really seen a huge amount of games. The sample size of how it does is definitely a lot smaller. I have been informed that Udyr did lose his 100% win streak earlier on today in the LCK, so sad boys for him. He's still 2-1, so still positive.
Yep, and again, for him, it's going to be a lot about the early clear coming out, trying to get to that turbo chem tank. You also do get the Dead Man's Plate, so indexing into more of that movement speed. And then I expect it being about Weiwei playing alongside Mole and trying to punish the enemy team in that side lane. Use that pick potential to turn onto an objective like Dragon or Herald.
Well, early handbags in the mid lane from Forge and Mole. Pretty expected. Both can spam their Q fairly effectively, making it very easy for them to push in and get any kind of advantage they possibly can. Harrow, very, very quick on the Lilia. Something that, very squishy, but if you can kite it out properly, which of course we expect all LPL level junglers to be able to do. Very, very fast jungle clear. Starts off with the Raptors, tends to look for a little bit of a invade after the first side of the clear, wherever they may start. And then look to maybe just hard farm to level 6 where they can actually start to make something happen in the lanes.
Yep, so we're seeing your full clear towards bot side. Again, potentially maybe that second Raptor respawn of Udyr you can look to pressure. I think it is going to depend a lot on this mid lane matchup. And talking about the mid lane matchup, we've seen Ryze gain a lot more prevalence. I think it's for a few reasons. One, just Tear being now a starting item, so cheap, very easy to stack. Lucidity boots helping you spam your Q to just clear that wave, really helped the wave clear trouble you had in 2020. And even not too long ago, he also did get a Q, I think, mana buff as well. So just sets up nicely for Ryze in the meta.
Yeah, and you know, for anyone who's wondering, Tear, oh, I have to stop myself there. Mole forced to flash away. Harrow making his presence known, but Weiwei now also making his known. He will not be able to steal any Krugs, but he has found himself just behind enemy lines. This wave's at an awkward position, though, for him to make anything happen.
Yeah, and I wonder if they will be able to go for this dive. I mean, Mininar is not very tanky, but I think this could be quite risky. He has flash. He should have hop-off cooldown as well.
Oh, they're full committing to it. They did take the turret aggro, the flash in to get the stun. Flash bear slap if you're quick shot. They will give that first blood over to Mole, but Mole has nowhere to go now, and he is going to be chased down by Forge. It's a trade of 1-for-1. Bit of an overcommitment from V5.
That's why I didn't think it was realistically a good play to make. Maybe had they been able to hold the CC, Weiwei wrap around, you kind of hide Ziv, you keep Ziv under turret and then bring the TP and then commit. The problem was they committed 1-by-1, had to leave 1-by-1, and as you pointed out, it just left Mole in an awkward position where he just had to die.
Yep, great commit there as well from the side of Rogue Warriors. Forge recognizing that they were just tanking and not resetting the turret at all. They burned summoners away from V5, and I feel like, apart from the little extra gold you get on top of the first blood, you actually lose that trade because you went 1-for-1 right now, and that just opens up a little bit of a movement here for Harrow. Maybe just feeling a little bit frisky because they know there is no flash here onto Mole, so he will just be scattered the weak down. They should not be able to kill him off, but more and more pressure with no TP. Mole's going to have a pretty terrible time considering he's only on 10 CS.
Exactly. He lost so many minions when he did make that play towards the topside. Forge is so far ahead, and even us talking about the build earlier, right, that he would love to go Ionian Boots of Lucidity, probably not able to do that anymore. We do see him sitting on that Null Magic Mantle, so is probably going to have to index into those work treads, because look how much threat he's under in this lane.
Oh, they land the Scatter the Weak. They don't land the Swirl Seed, and underneath the tower, Forge gets locked up. They're trying to just run away from Wei, trying to just kite this one out. You can see Wei, he's so powerful with those stances. Gets the bear stance, gets himself a kill. So again, another 1-for-1 trade, but he is not done. There is a flash for Forge. Can he get himself away from this? No real mana, and the extra movement speed you get from swapping out between the different forms means that Wei is able to clean that one up, no problem whatsoever.
Yeah, really nice to see. I didn't think he'd be able to do it. We've actually seen a lot of Udyrs taking Ghost for this very reason of being able to connect with that follow-up. Of course, Udyr does max Phoenix Stance, and Phoenix Stance early game damage is quite nice. Like the base stat scaling is pretty egregious, so it's one of the reasons why Udyr's clear is so good and why he does quite well in these skirmishes.
Have a look at the replay here, and you can see Rogue Warriors, they want to just force the issue here. It's actually great for Mole to just stun up Forge and force him to basically be in a very awkward position.
Exactly, because he was dead no matter what, right? Had he kept running and not tried to look for that turnaround, Wei would not be able to pick up these kills back on. Like we said, a bit surprising he could do this. The movement speed does come out, and it's going to be a nice cleanup for Wei, and now we're going to be able to see what this Udyr jungle with 2 kills can do.
Yep, you got the perfect start for your jungler. You're not falling behind Haru on the hard farming Lilia, who's definitely been making herself a little bit known in this mid lane. Still no flash onto Mole. No lilting Lullaby though either. They have got level 6 onto Forge, so they're going to flash in, just try and commit fully onto this. The Scatters are weak, go down. Do they have enough damage? They do not. Now the TP responded to as V5 look to try and punish an overextension. They will find Forge, who had used his flash. That is a great response from V5.
Nice play coming out to support Mole. He is getting completely bullied. It does go back. Oh God.
Oh no, Haro, yeah, you gotta run away, buddy. You can't farm that wave, and Wei is terrifying right now. He's got Merc Treads, double Ruby Crystal, like you said, going towards more of a teamfight build, but even then, the early damage from these stances you get as Udyr is actually insane.
Yeah, it's just one of the archetypes of like a melee bruiser champion is because they are so easily kiteable, they typically do have like higher base stats and base damages to make up for that. Of course, when he does change to bear stance, he does get that bonus movement speed, so that's how we're seeing him be able to keep on top of the likes of Haro and Forge. He's going to pick up, again, some more kills and assists, and they're going to turn this into a Drake. We also see that Audi's been doing quite well in the top side, does have a CS advantage, and that's with him despite not being in lane for the past about 60 seconds.
And look at the advantage that was in the mid lane. I say was because it is no more. Mole, despite having all this attention, despite being 1-2-1, has caught up relatively well. He was 20 CS down. Remember, he was on 10 CS after that first top lane kind of dive the V5 went for. And Rogue Warriors tried to force the issue. They tried to 100% make that a winning lane for them. And V5 just answered to it perfectly. They recognized that's exactly what Rogue Warriors were going to do.
They've done a good job, and we already see PP-God on the map as well, just kind of hovering around mid lane, making sure there's no shenanigans coming out from Reheal. Wei is close by as well if he wants to answer this up, but it does look like he's going to go for the reset. All of his top camps are up, so I expect to see him kind of go in, pick up some of those top camps, and honestly probably set up for a nice Rift Herald. But the fact that Rogue Warriors bottom lane does have push right now might mean Rogue Warriors can contest.
Yep. Might be able to go for something. Still waiting on any kind of items, really. They've got a double Doran's Gnar up on the top side, still waiting for his TP to come back up. They've got a couple of amp tones in the mid lane for the Syndra. You can see Reheal here, just making sure there is no shenanigans, trying to get the push as best as he possibly can. Very hard to push against Arise, though. He's very skilled at just blowing up the waves like that.
Yep, again, the tier build just kind of helping him a lot in being able to keep up with this early wave clear that we associate a lot with Rise of like a few years past when he was very strong before. A lot of nerfs, I think a lot coming from players like Faker bringing him down as Trigger gets engaged on.
Yeah. Michi, ooh, the W misses. He's just trading. It's very, very equal trade. Actually, one more auto attack from Trigger would have maybe made it different. But here we go. 3v3 in the mid lane. We're going to see a flash headbutt pulverize. Forge is dead. That's your damage down. And that is 2 easy, quick kills for the side of V5. Rogue Warriors, what are you doing?
It's nice to see, though, coming out from PP God. Like you said, he does land that headbutt pulverize. It sets up for Weiwei just to pop bear stance, run in, change back to Phoenix, and get down all that damage. Mole's there as well, and it's sad because it was looking like a good start for Rogue Warriors. The mid-jungle 2v2 we've hit on so many times was coming out, but we see this play. They know they're here. PP God just going in, just beautiful headbutt pulverize. Mole as well, flashing over the wall to make sure they have enough burst damage to take him down. And then Haro left in a bad place, left to leave, and sadly, Reheal is there to pay for it.
And any disadvantage that Mole had from the start of this game has very much been mitigated. He's got himself a double kill, 3 kills overall after that top lane kill he did receive earlier on in the game. And now we're seeing out of nowhere 6 kills to 2, a 2,000 gold lead, just under it for the side of V5, and they kind of feel like they control the map right now.
V5 definitely in a commanding position still. Rogue Warriors using their support in jungle to kind of pressure into Weiwei's jungle. Not able to do anything. PP God with very good posture. I wonder where they're going to elect to drop this Herald. I think you would like to see it come out on top side again, start elongating those lanes, maybe give Audi a bit of resources, but I would say more customary for the way V5 plays would just to be to give it to your bottom side. I don't necessarily think it's the best thing for your comp, but we do see them getting that deep vision right now.
They finally have Reheal on level 6, so he does have the ultimate available for them if they want to go for a team fight. It looks like they're angling for something. The Magnet Storm available, you have to be so careful in V5. Again, there is plenty of team fighting opportunities for Rogue Warriors, even this little bit far behind, to come back into this game.
You know, talking about the team fight that Rogue Warriors are looking for, one of the awkward things about especially having a Gnar on your team is that they have TP advantage, but it's just so awkward to find a good time to use it when, right, you have to play around that Mega Gnar bar and when he can come in and be effective. So, despite having a TP advantage, Gnar as a champion kind of makes it a bit more difficult to play around.
Right now, V5, they're happy to keep going with this. They're just farming up. They're getting advantages in top side. They have the advantages in in mid. So Trigger hasn't really had any scares as such, still sitting with full summoners, and PP God's free to roam. So the ball is in Rogue Warriors' court to right now make something happen around some of these objectives with 27 seconds or just a little bit under it for the side of the Dragon to come up. They need to try and make something happen, I feel, to try and get themselves back into contention with this game because it can snowball away from them.
The thing is, we could just see V5 use the Herald to give them pressure to go for the Dragon take. So even here, Weiwei could just pop his head in either mid or bot, drop Herald, and then while Rogue Warriors are dealing with that objective, just go ahead and take the Drake. Audi's TP is about to come back up, so maybe V5 just having the confidence overall, thinking, hey, we're so far ahead, Rogue Warriors can't fight us, it can't be a 5v4, Audi can be here, and they're just going to be able to pick this one up.
Oh, they may not be able to pick this one up as the teleport has been committed. That is Forge coming out the backside. Now you can see Audi using his. It's TPs on either side. They have Trigger off to the side. He is on a ward, though. They jump in. They're trying to see if they can get something down with the Magnet Force. They will get the steal down, so Rogue Warriors stop the stacking, but now the fight can ensue. Samira is the first to drop. That's one of your big damage dealers, but a 4-man lilting lullaby is huge to try and keep this one going for Rogue Warriors. They're kiting this one very nicely. They're going to be able to use the Realm War out, but PP God's left alone. If they could just land one boomerang, they could maybe turn this one around, but he is not afraid, and he jumps straight back in on top of Ziv, who is yet to go back into Mega. They are going to be able to clean up a fight. It's a 3-for-3 overall. Rogue Warriors trying to keep themselves alive. There's not a huge amount of mana onto Mole. And the 3-for-3, but the Dragon goes for Rogue Warriors. They went in on the call.
I'm going to be honest, Penguin. That was extremely messy coming out from both sides. It looked like Rogue Warriors were going to start pulling ahead after that lilting lullaby that you highlighted from Haro. But V5, they use the Rise Ultimate. They get some members out of there. Weiwei, a bit greedy, still wants to go for that crab, so turns back around. And then PP God finds the angle to go in. They do find some kills, and again, like you said, very even fight, but it does feel like V5 were the ones to get a bit more as we head into the replay. Reheal being the one to jump in. Gnar actually the one who gets the Dragon, so nice coming out from Ziv. Michi gets taken down right away, and this is the lilting lullaby that we talked about. This is where it looked like potentially Rogue Warriors can turn it around. Haro does get the pick off coming out, but Very creative. Rise ultimate. Wei Wei again turns to take the Scuttle Crab. PP God sees his opportunity. Trigger follows it in. Is going to be able to pick off Ziv here as well. And like you said, we just kind of trade 3 for 3 on both sides.
Importantly for Rogue Warriors, they stop the dragon stacking and they keep themselves within arm's length of those items and those gold kind of advantages that V5 had found themselves with.
Penguin,
looking,
I need to stop you for 1 second because we see a Rift Maker on Rise, which we haven't seen at all. It's been all Luden's Tempest. And again, Riftmaker doesn't give you any mana, which is what you feel like Rise would want. It's a lot more of a 1v1 dueling item, as we've seen the bottom of our screens that V5 did drop Herald mid. But it gives you the Omni Vamp, it gives you the dueling potential. It does give you increased damage while you're in combat. So I feel like, once again, it's setting up for more of that side lane Rise.
yeah, it sets you up to kind of be the split pusher for your team. Of course, in base kind of stats, it is just more of a tanky item than it is a full damage item, like you said. Now Forge, with no flash, gonna try and get himself away from this, but there's nowhere you can go. They just about take him down with the red buff. Full 4-man commit into the mid lane does mean they're able to finally take this turret down. Like you mentioned earlier, we did see the Rift Herald was committed to that, so they finally pick up purchase on that. Mountain Soul is the soul for the Rift today. And 10-5 in kills. This is far more eventful from both sides than it was in the game 1.
It is definitely a lot of back and forth. And again, I love watching this Udyr. It seems like he functions in a very similar way to the Olaf, especially now that, you know, Turbo Chem Tank and this build is coming out, where you're just running face first at the enemy and they really don't have an answer. As long as you have the follow-up with your team, you will be able to start taking some of these skirmishes, as we've seen from V5 so far.
Well, Ziv has the hop, gets himself out, trying to just throw a couple of auto attacks every now and again back out to Wei Wei. And for V5, this is, again, totally fine. Mole's at a very, very strong position with that Riftmaker. Becomes very difficult to take him down, while also just very, very powerful to clearing the waves. You've got Wei Wei just running around the map, making sure that everything's kept in check. For Rogue Warriors, where do you want to see them go? What do you want to see them do to maybe put V5 on the back foot a little bit?
I feel like the hard thing is we need to see more mythic items come out for the side of Rogue Warriors, right? Forge still doesn't have that Luden's Tempest. Did opt into the Oblivion Orb to get some Grievous wounds as well, to where Bull is even already almost at his Archangel's Staff. We also seeing Ziv just sitting on the Bomby Cinder, to where Audi's on the Gore Drinker. So at this point in time, I don't think Rogue Warriors can go to a straight 5-5, 5v5 with the side of Victory 5. It is going to be about catching waves for maybe another like minute and a half, getting those mythics, and then Dragon's going to be up in 45 seconds. You still have the range to play with coming out from your Lilia and Syndra. Maybe being able to force out some cooldowns earlier or find a pick will be a way for Rogue Warriors to start off a skirmish on the right foot.
I think Forge should be finishing off his mythic item once he's able to go back after picking up all these waves. And it's the kind of annoying thing about Rise. Rise just clears waves very, very quickly, and a perma push kind of mid laner, while also having the Realm Orb to reposition, has effectively a point and click CC as well. He's a very difficult champion to deal with later, and later this game goes on. He starts to build up his mana pool. As you said, the Seraph's Embrace almost finished up for him. But for Rogue Warriors, they go back. They finally see Forge picking up that Luden's Tempest. They now have the Liandry's Anguish and the Frostfire Gauntlet. So potential, 5v5 coming in here now as they finally pick up their mythics.
It's really interesting, too, to see the Frostfire Gauntlet showing Rogue Warriors are very intuitive and they want to keep Victory 5 at arm's length.
Oh, there is the Scatter of the Week. They're going to jump straight onto the Dragon, but it is secured by V5. Now the 5v5 can ensue. It's kind of a fight on two fronts. Flash, Pulverize, PP God just trying to jump in on top of this back line. Trigger finds his trigger and jumps straight in on top of them. And that is 2-3 kills for the side of V5. They get the Dragon, they get the team fight, and they're going to be able to maybe turn for more.
It doesn't matter if Rogue Warriors want to keep Victory 5 at arm's length. If Victory 5 always have a way of getting on top of the likes of Rogue Warriors, they're going to be able to pick up some turrets around the map. They did transition to that 1-3-1 setup that we're talking about, and they're going to be able to get so much out from this play, Penguin.
They get the bot lane turret tier 1. They're going to be able to get the top lane tier 1. They will be stopped in the mid lane as there's not a huge amount of mana on 2 triggers, so they don't want to commit to that too overtly, but massive gold swing in favor of V5. Went to about from 2k now straight up to 6.5 after this tower goes down. That is just a huge amount of gold that's going into V5 that they're going to be able to make instant use out of.
And we were already talking about how Victory 5 were ahead in terms of items before this fight, but we are going to get a replay of it. We do see Reheal try to jump in and kind of dissuade this play. Does get bursted out from this, so it's already a 5v4. PP God finds a nice angle. And Udyr is just such a monster. He's so fast. Flashes in, gets on the backline. Trigger with a nice follow-up as well, instantly bursting out the Lilia. And that was all the kills that the side of V5 needed.
And this is something we didn't really mention, but the chase down from V5 is actually insane when you think about the champions they have. They can jump in with triggers, Kai'Sa on the backside, Mole and with the phase rush, and of course, Weiwei just with the passive movement speed, regardless of his phase rush, can just keep running at you, keep pushing you back. You can see him here, just being a nuisance with the pure amount of movement speed that he has with this chem tank, and of course the Dead Man's Plate. Thank you.
Again, it's really interesting to watch, and Rogue Warrior's going to try to answer. V5 are pulling them across the map, but Weiwei's looking to go in.
Weiwei, he's so fast, he's so scary. You can see he's ignoring Reheal, jump straight on top of the Lilia. That is a dead deer, Bambi, bye-bye. And this is just becoming a sure thing for the side of V5. They know exactly what to do. It's a repeat of game 1. They know where to be, they know where to go, and they're executing cleanly.
It was also textbook, right? We saw V5 set up into the 1-3-1. They pull Syndra and Gnar to the side lanes, and then they all rotate and collapse on the mid lane with numbers advantage. So very clean play in that instance coming out from V5. They're going to be very easily able to turn to this Baron, and Forge and Ziv shouldn't have any way of contesting this.
No, this is becoming a little bit difficult now to see the light for Rogue Warriors. You've yet to take a turret. You've yet to really kind of get any kind of foothold in the game. Yes, you got 5 kills and you stole that dragon, but you're going to need a miracle engage. You have the burst. It is potentially possible, but you're going to need so many things to go your way for it to actually happen.
Yeah, the problem is you're going to need something like a nice Scout of the Week or 5-man, 4-man Lilting Lullaby coming out from Haro, kind of locking them down, allowing for all the bursts from Forge, Michi, and Haro to just instantly take out, the likes of Weiwei, Mole, or Trigger. And that's just not an easy thing to do, especially when, V5 are not just bots, and they're actively playing to make sure that that doesn't happen.
Oh, it is tough being a Rogue Warriors fan watching this. You're 9,000 gold, or maybe 8,500 gold behind. You're not really got any kind of place to go with this composition unless you can scale. They're going to need a huge, as you say, 5-man Lilting Lullaby into a 5-man Zivult into the wall, into a 5-man magnetic, magnet ultimate from the Rel. It's a lot of ifs.
Easy.
It's a lot
You're
of
right. You're right. Penguin. It sounds like every other Tuesday for some of the... a Scout of the... Okay, I got excited for no reason. There was a Scout of the Week onto one person. It was close enough.
It was Mole, so it's important. It's an important player. And this uses, we saw this actually a couple of times in a lot of different leagues, that the use of the Realm Warp just to be able to shift people, minions, quick as you possibly can. It can make that 1-3-1 or a 1-4 so powerful, especially with a Baron buff. It could just keep a push going when it shouldn't realistically continue.
And again, V5 are going to be pulling Rogue Warriors to opposite sides of the map. The Dragon is coming up soon, so they could even just send one member. It doesn't even matter who, whether it's your Renekton, your Kai'Sa, your Udyr. Anyone can go and solo that while the other members of Victory 5 are keeping pressure on the map. And we've talked many times about the awkwardness of just kind of this mechanic of Gnar, how the Rage Bar is very random and very hard to play around. Ziv walking forward aggressively, hoping to do something, but you know what? It's already gone. It's already gone.
Yep, there's nothing really he can take there. There is another Mountain Drake available to Weiwei when he so sees fit. The last 40 seconds of this Baron, they are going to take down the last of the outer turrets. So again, 23 minutes into the game, we are seeing a little bit more of V5 as they just start to push their dominance into this game. Just want to notice there, Tiamat for Ziv with this Frostfire Gauntlet and an innovative build. I don't know if it's going to be a successful build, however.
I mean, it's just hard to judge whatever he builds overall this game because they're 12k gold behind. He's not going to be able to have an impact. I think another interesting thing to note in terms of builds, though, is that, we were highlighting Udyr's build being good against double AP and all the movement speed. Another core item in his build is that Force of Nature, which also gives him another 5% movement speed, gives him 60 magic resist, and also has that passive where when you take damage, when you take AP damage, you do get more movement speed and more magic resist. So just a very menacing champion when the enemy team has, whether it's the Lilia, Nidalee, Taliyah, plus an AP mid laner. It is very scary to go against that Udyr.
Yeah, he'd be running at you, and it doesn't matter if everyone else is trying to protect you. He should be able to just keep you or get to you as quick as he likes. We've seen it multiple times. He's so fast. It's crazy how fast he can run.
And think about it. Also having the 2 Mountain Drakes to increase that magic-resistant armor as well. It's just going to be absolutely unkillable. You can see now, he doesn't even need to respect them. He can just keep running in circles right in front of their faces, and Rogue Warriors can only cry into the palms of their hands.
They'll all be picking up tears fully stacked at the moment as they are just running. In fairness, if I had a bear man running at me, I'd also be crying running away, to be perfectly honest. It's terrifying. And now, Baron isn't even up. They have total control over this jungle side. You can see them just going for a little bit of a play. Wei just jumping straight onto the front line. Well, the Realm Wolf is used. Rel is dead. Double kill for Trigger with Mole adding the 3rd. This is all but over for Rogue Warriors, but V5, they came, they saw, they conquered. Triple kill for Trigger. They're going to try and keep chasing down Michi, who has got the frame perfect on the cleanse, but it does not matter. It's a full house, triple on the double, and V5 going to take a 2-0.
And a bear man just absolutely running at them causes the end of this game. Great team fight coming out from V5. And this is a sort of decisive win we need to see if V5 still want to be considered a top team.
Yep, a great 2-0. There was, honestly, from the 10-12 minute mark, no doubt in either game that V5 were most likely going to be the favors in this particular series. And 2-0, you'll absolutely take that clean as you like. V5 take themselves to 3-1.
It's also... It shows how ridiculously ahead they were, that Wei was just able to run at them alone. Like, the other members were not following up yet, the Realm Warp had not been channeled, he was running into 4 people alone, and Rogue Warriors know, hey, we need to run away from this guy. We don't have the damage, we don't have the ability to take him down.
Yeah, it was a demolition of Rogue Warriors by V5, and for Rogue Warriors, there's not really... They always say you learn a lot from your losses, but there's not really a huge amount you can take from that. You just kind of got slapped, and you kind of have to go back to the drawing board a little bit.
I think the problem with some of our lower tier teams in LPL is that they're